I heard my own sigh. That was weird. I didn't mean to do that. Hello, it's me, Scott. Is the music loud again? I can't tell. I don't think it's loud. It just seems loud to me. Hi. So I didn't stream yesterday for the first time in a long time because I was running a 30-hour stream. 33-hour stream. It was almost... We almost made it to 33 and a third before it died. And the reason for doing that was so that Twitch could test the extension I've been working on. And they were not able to do that. And the process is unfortunately pretty opaque, and I was a little irked, you know? A little irked. Hi, Life is Yours. How's it going? But it'll be okay. It's fine. So we'll get through it. Now I set it up so I can stream from my laptop, and we'll just leave it up forever till the end of time, I guess. I know it's weird to see me on my own stream. It was kind of weird yesterday how many viewers there were yesterday morning. Like, my stream is pretty popular when I'm not on it, it seems. It's just, it hurts my feelings. So, you know, as long as we're here, I thought we could tidy some things up. Maybe, well, that was weird. My video just seemed like it froze a little bit. Stream health seems okay. Yeah, we'd tidy some things up. We would fix some potential abuse problems that Draclin and Binary C pointed out. But I also kind of want to start on Bot Made This, because I was thinking, I don't know, there's various things I want a bot for. The main thing I feel like I need a bot for is so people can alert me when I forget to change the scenes. That's the most important thing. But I thought like a first initial weird thing we could add is some functions to let people control heat from chat, which is kind of counter to the purpose of heat. But even to do things like cycle the mode or clear or something like that. Actually, clear seems like probably a valuable moderation tool if like mods or VIPs can call for a clear in case someone's abusing it or whatever. So I think I want to do that. But first, let's just see what's going on. Let's make sure I didn't break anything getting that stream going. Look at this beautiful, beautiful Starry Night. Okay, so Binary C app success. Wait, what succeeded? Not me. I failed today. Today was not a bad day. I had a very productive call with the Children's Museum of Pittsburgh for a new thing I'm doing for them. Oh, more people when I'm not here. You know, I kind of want that. Hey, Draclin, I kind of like the idea that once this thing is approved of some perpetual version of this stream, maybe I could come up with a way to set that up that it wouldn't be too high impact. I was trying to decide if I could run this stuff. Probably not is the actual real answer. But what's the like smallest machine I could run this on and stream from? But to run those, to run the demos and be able to stream, you know, you need like a real computer. An AWS service for just perpetual streaming. I could probably set that up. I looked into that before. I know you're kidding, but I looked into streaming from Node from a fake browser context into FFmpeg for like weird headless streaming because I thought that would be cool. And the problem is, one, just the video encode is, you could encode a smaller stream depending on the machine you did it on, but the if you want to do anything hardware accelerated, like all the Pixie stuff, that would be that would be problematic. So looking at the old to-do, there's a real big one. I don't want to touch anything in this realm because this is what's up for approval. I'd prefer not to mess with this too much just because I don't want to break it while anyone's looking at it, but I did do some cleaning up here to hopefully help with the review process. But this is a thing. This is the bug that has been identified, is that I'm not careful about the input you put in. I basically just take it and spit it right out to the client, which is not a great idea. So first I make sure that it is actual proper input from the extension. So we do that with we've got the middleware that says, make sure this thing actually came from the extension. But you can, as Draclin and Binary C have discovered, you can kind of circumvent that by injecting some JavaScript that manually calls extension functions. The cooldown, we have the client-side cooldown that's just for drawing. We have a server-side cooldown for that very reason, that you could abuse things on the client side. And yeah, the Buffy to infinity. So we're doing what we can to make sure that yes, it's valid, that the source is valid, and yes, that we're not being spammed, but we do not do anything to make sure that the payload is any good. And you know what? I kind of think while I'm in here, I want to also send, Let's do this. Let's do this while we're at it. This payload should also have, let's find the documentation for that. It should also have the user ID in it. It will be an opaque user ID. Oh wait, I already have that somewhere. For the cooldown, I know it. The opaque user ID, which I think becomes a non-opaque ID. Thought we had. So I think the opaque user ID. Yeah. Okay, so there's two things you could have. You could have, is this all the stuff that's in the payload? Yeah. So oh, that's interesting. So the opaque user ID you always get, and it's just so that you can differentiate between people in chat or extension users in this case, which are totally separate from chat users. So anything that begins with a U is actually a real user ID. Anything beginning with an A is transient. The role, I wish there were more roles here, although this is actually handy, so I can know if someone's a mod, which is kind of cool. Can I prohibit guests? I can, I mean, I could set some kind of mode that was, oh, that's kind of weird. Oh, I should use it. Okay. So, I mean, really there's just broadcaster, moderator, and viewer. So not requirements around being a viewer or prohibit guests. I actually haven't seen that in this realm. This is the first I've even seen that you can differentiate between different types of users as far as, because I would kind of like to do something, one thought would be like, oh, if you're not following, your cooldown is a minute. And if you are following, your cooldown is 30 seconds. And if you're a VIP, you know what I mean? Like, so you could tier things. Unfortunately, doesn't seem like there's, yeah, I don't know exactly how you could do that. I guess for every user, you could try to look them up through the chat client APIs, but that would be, maybe that's not the worst thing. It just seems potentially a little heavy. Yeah, to get their roles as far as their roles in chat. Yeah, the moderator one is cool. I do like that. I would kind of like something. I guess what I would prefer Binary C is if I could also know if they were a follower or a subscriber. But the moderator could potentially be helpful, especially if for that like emergency clear mode or whatever. Like if there's like somebody's trying to draw something horrible, like if Life Is Yours is trying to draw his creeper fan art, and it needs to be cleared immediately, then that could be useful. So this one, what I'm kind of confused about this though. So this user ID is provided only for users who opt in, which there's this setup on the back end you have to do to allow users to do this, which I have not done and which I don't want to do at this moment. What I kind of wonder is if user ID and opaque user ID are kind of mutually exclusive. Because what's a little weird here is it seems like non-opaque IDs can appear in here. Users who revoke the extension's ability to identify them are issued a new opaque identifier. So let's just start with the idea of passing through that opaque user ID, I think. The sublist else, well, I only have, if I have the opaque IDs, I don't really know who you are. They're anonymized. I would only have real IDs. And with the real IDs, I could probably look you up with the client API. But I don't want to do the real ID stuff yet because that does require dashboard stuff. And you kind of can't do much there while it's in review. But that is something I could do long term. And I think I even put that somewhere, like somewhere in to-dos. Maybe I didn't. No, show usernames with clicks was one of the ideas. But we could start out really early on that and just say, for example, that different opaque IDs get different random colors, and then so people could differentiate their own clicks. That would be sort of the first version. So maybe if we were going to add anything today while we're doing this, I guess my thinking was, well, if I'm already going to be in here messing with the payload that goes to the clients, I could also throw in a user ID here if I wanted to. And then it would just be kind of up to the client. So the click would come through, we'd get X, Y, and user, for example. I guess I'm not too worried about, like normally I would maybe be very thoughtful about like building a packet that I wanted to exist and go into the future and be able to build on and stuff. But I guess I'm not too worried about that here. If I'm just gonna say X, Y, and user. I mean, I might even just do like ID, and then later we could add some code that would let you know whether it was a yeah, I think I like that. Like we'll just start with this, and then the ID, we could flesh that out later. Like later, that ID could be the real ID. It could come with some other like payload that had users and stuff. As far as how to look that up, I think in the I think it's called the Twitch API, client API. There's endpoints. No, that's not it. This is usernames to user IDs, but I think you can similarly do this the other way. I think there's a way if you have the ID to look up. Yeah, that's true. I just mean like if other people, because one of the ideas binary C is that other people could build off of this, and I wouldn't want to like break somebody else's creation because I'm messing with the packets, but that's not really a concern at this point. So, and I mean, later on, I could even decide to, maybe the really robust version is to eventually version them. I have seen stuff like, gosh, what is it? Like Protobuf, I think, does it. Like there is an idea in like packet design, I guess, that you just, I think they even have the ability to deprecate. Anyway, but like the idea that like you don't take things out of a packet, you only add to the end. So you would never mess with anything that was there. You would just add new fields rather than modifying existing fields just so you didn't break compatibility. Either that or you should come up with some way to version it. Anyway, this world, where are all the endpoints? I thought there was a list that said all of the endpoints they offered. Oh, I think it's this user's reference. Yeah. So get user by ID, and then this would give me some things, but not kind of everything you'd want, I guess. Like this would give you the name and the logo, so you could get people's icons. Maybe you can do that in chat though, because there's a separate chat API. You know what I think it was? I was trying to get the color. No, that's fair. You like the swagger? Yeah, I mean, it's totally not a concern right now because nobody's using this but me, so I can tear it up all I want. I think there is something annoying about getting things like the username color, which it would be kind of nice if I could make it like, oh, whatever you draw is the color of your username in chat. But unfortunately, I think that only comes through, I think that's part of the chat message packet and like doesn't exist anywhere except for with a message. I might be wrong about that. But you'd have to basically have a bot sitting in chat. That might not be true. Let's see, but I kind of think it is. I'm not sure what, excuse me. I don't think that's part of this API. I think that's part of the new Twitch API. Those are messages, commands. It's one of these state things. I think user state is actually a message. Is that right? No, that's when you join. What the heck is it? Anyway, I found it before. It's there's just some little packet that comes with each blob of chat. I thought it was called, I really thought it was one of the states. But you can get it in a chat bot and it has like the colors and all that stuff. Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, also like, yeah, the just go with what's easy. Yeah, I think the color really is only a chat thing. Oh, that's true. It will be random. Bart, they did message me and they rejected me for just because they couldn't figure it out. I don't know. I provided them more documentation. It was not a very helpful message, unfortunately. The whole process is very opaque. There wasn't really like a way to contact them. It was a no reply email address. Like it was not a dialogue. Yeah. Yes, rejected. I've been rejected. But only like on a technicality. Like it was like, oh, see policy, whatever, 13.1 or 1.13 that says, I don't know. I feel like the instructions I put in it, I thought what they went by, when you submit, it gives it like the submission notes where you put in and they say like, hey, walk us through how we're supposed to do this. And I put a few bullet points in there because I didn't think it was complicated. But yeah, they basically wrote back and said they couldn't figure it out. So what I guess, I don't know. I know, oh, Binary C, rejected Don Hertzfeld, masterpiece. Love Don Hertzfeld. Probably my favorite animator. My guess is that even though they say that they're going to test it on your channel, that they tried to install it on one of theirs. And that is something that is not well documented just because I didn't really anticipate them doing that. So I provided a little more clarity there, and I will write up that documentation on the Help and About page. and we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to do this for now because this will at least let me differentiate between users, and I can say, like, if I get a new user, we'll give a random color. So maybe we'll do a little painting app tonight that lets everybody would get their own color. I don't want to be able to draw necessarily. I want to be able to do like splattery paint. Maybe we'll do some kind of the demo video. I probably should. I had planned to do that this weekend. Unfortunately, one of the things I really want for the demo video is to have a bunch of users on it. So what I would thinking is that I would record offline an intro and an outro, and then just a bunch of cuts of the different demos being used live, like in just chatting with a bunch of people. Because I really would like to see the sequencer used by a bunch of people, but if that doesn't happen, we'll figure it out. But yeah, this weekend was going to be my video time. Okay, this is where we need to actually, like, very first thing, actually. Okay, so we care about two things, really, that that these are numbers and that they are clamped 0, 1. So I guess we could start with, what is it? Is nan? What's the right thing? Is that right? Actually, we want to do that first and just say, if these aren't numbers, get out of here. So if is nan, non. Wait, don't do that. Do this first. Actually, I shouldn't. I should send an error, maybe? Should that be an error? Awesome. Good luck, Jacqueline. What are some... Is there like a valid HTTP error code for invalid input or something? I mean, that could be a 5... it shouldn't be a 500 because that implies that something broke on my side. So these are client errors. So we could do a 400 as just a bad request. That has a star next to it. What does that mean? These are top 10 status codes. Yeah, that's basically what we'll do, Life is Yours. Ooh, how about this one? 418 error. I'm a teapot. Maybe we should do a teapot error. Enhance your calm. I know you will be turned into a teapot if you try to exile the bevy. Oh, when the client is being rate limited. Oh, it's 420. I get it. But we already have too many requests. Request range not satisfied. Unavailable for legal reasons? Oh, from Fahrenheit 451? Man, I didn't know there were these literary error codes. Meme error codes? I know. How's it going, Encode? I will probably just do bad request. It seems like the right thing to do. So I forgot how we did that. This. So we want to actually return this. This is our... So that's just a 400 with oops. First round with the extension rejected, which I'm not super surprised by. I mean, I was kind of expecting it because that video did say that only 29% of extensions get by on the first time, but I checked, I crossed all the T's and I dotted all the lowercase j's, and was not successful. So hopefully they'll look at it tomorrow. Hopefully they don't take another 30 hours. The good news is, reading deeply into the contest rules, your extension has to be submitted by the contest deadline, but does not have to be approved. And there's a week window in which a 1 week window, not week, it's kind of weak, in which you can make fixes if necessary. I don't want to do that. I want to be ready to go before then. But if that's the case, then that's the case. Okay. Do we want it? I guess the next question is, do we want to make it an error if somebody submits numbers that are too big? I mean, that could be part of this same thing. So if it's not a number, X or Y, and then if X is less than 0 or X is greater than 1, or, like we could come up with six conditions here. Is that crazy? I guess it's not too horrible. Can't you do a socket thing back to the client? What do you mean? Which client? To the broadcaster with the web client up? So we only listen for one thing from socket clients, which I would prefer to listen to 0 things, but this is just kind of a limitation of Socket.io. The only thing we listen to for socket clients is a join command to basically join the channel. So this, I had actually worried about that this morning. If you saw that message on Discord where it was like, oh, I think I figured out a way to exploit this thing horribly. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could like do some horrible abuse over the socket. So yes, the only thing we listen to from individual socket clients is this channel command to join a channel. So we don't, anything that anybody could join the Socket.io server. And that's kind of by design, is that any of the broadcaster can easily join and get their data. But you can't send anything upstream except for this one command. So, I mean, theoretically, you could do some sort of horrible DDoS by spamming me with millions of channel joins, but I'm not super worried about that. One, because I'm not actually sure it would be that much of a problem, because nothing would happen. If they're invalid channels you're adding and there's no clicks coming through, it's not like there'd be any traffic. So, and I have like the power of AWS to protect me. So I'm not too worried about that. That is like a potential issue, is just that you could join. I mean, but that would be like with any web service. You could try to spin up a trillion connections and just send nonsense. But yeah, you can't send any arbitrary data. Basically, the only way to get data out is inside the click. And we may add other stuff later on, but right here, this thing right here is send a message to all Socket.io clients that are subscribed to a certain channel, and then send them this click event with this particular payload. So I think I think we're safe in that realm. I could be wrong, but I think we're safe in that realm. Okay, so the first thing we want to say is if... So I guess there's two options. If somebody's trying to send bad numbers, either I just conform it for them and round it, or I say like those are invalid, which maybe is the more appropriate thing to do. So, I mean, is this too ridiculous? Like to say, or y is less than 0, or y is greater than 1, or x is less than 0, or x is greater than 1? Is there a less annoying way to do that? I mean, that way I don't have to clamp or anything. Yeah, pile on the ors. Yeah. I mean, I could. Life is yours, I could constrain it, but like, if bad data comes in, it means somebody's trying to mess with me. And like, why should I even accept it? Like, because if it was like, oh, you're sending crazy numbers, I'm going to constrain it, but then I'm just introducing noise and just putting a bunch of clicks at one boundary. So it wouldn't really be like I'm correcting the data. I would just be making it not invalid, but it's still not really valid. It would still be kind of bad clicks along the side. So I think it is more correct to say, if you put in junk, you're a bad person. So this would be, so let's see what we get. Boo boo. Oops, not 3030, 3000. Did I not just change that to 3000? Oh, I can't connect to the Redis server. That's my problem. I need some Redis. My fault. Okay, now what? Okay. Oh, I can't even do that at all because that's an invalid. Send them junk back. That'll teach them. Okay, this is correct. So this is invalid, right? Because I can't do this thing. So good. I'm glad I can't do this thing. I need to go to, gosh, how can I make this valid? Oh yeah, I can use this thing. I don't know what this is going to do while it's in testing, actually. I don't know what this is going to do while everything's in testing. So like normally I would be able to go in here and change this URL. But while it's in test mode, what will happen? Okay, cool. So that went through. So that is connected to my local server. So that is valid data, right? So we got, we sent that and we get a thanks. So to make that not valid, we would send, like, I mean, we could test all states, right? So one of them is that X is not valid. That's weird. So it gave me, 400 actually returns a web body. I didn't know that would happen. Okay, so, pardon me, that's a 400 error for an invalid X. That's a 400 error for an invalid Y. Zero is valid, but -1 is not valid. -1 is not valid. 2, not valid. Okay, I think that's all our conditions, right? Do we have any other conditions we need to account for? Add requests. Look at my on-the-fly unit tests. 0.5 should be perfectly valid. Okay. Guess I could have just done those one row at a time. That's from Express. Yeah, but other error codes don't serve HTML, which is weird. That must just be a built-in thing for Express, I guess. If you return a 400, it already has some built-in HTML for that. Because if I, like, what was that the goofy Twitter one? Oops, I need to make my input invalid again. Well, that didn't do that before. That's weird. Previously, when these error codes that I was sending from Express didn't have like full, like this too many messages, stuff like that didn't have full HTML. I mean, it's fine. I don't mind. But I don't remember them doing that. Yeah, like too many requests 429 is not doing that. I wonder why that is. But then invalid, what did I do different here? Oh, maybe because I know why. I know why it is. I know why. It's because the header's already sent. So if you hadn't already send I think this is why. Because now I'm out of the middleware and I'm in an actual route. So up here when it was in middleware and I was sending errors, and that's when I was not getting a body. That's my assumption anyway. Is that now that I'm like in a route, maybe that's not the right terminology, but I think that is the explanation, even if I don't know what the terminology is. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's cram in some very invalid things. It's kind of interesting that I don't have to just realize this. I don't have to make sure I don't have to like turn it into a string. I guess is not a number kind of implicitly casts or tries to cast. If casting's even what you call it in JavaScript when you do like parse float. Okay, I feel pretty good about this this tweak. So okay. Let's deploy this. That was weird. What was I logging here? Where did you come from? Okay, so all teapots are invalid. All teapot tokens. So this means now I know How do I want to do this? I want to do something weird. I want to do like some kind of accumulation buffer thing where every time an opaque ID comes in, I want to assign a color to it. And then so each of you will have your own color. And then I'm going to do something with like a randomized hue. And then I want to okay, I want to do something like this. Actually, I think there's a pixie example that we can just use. Where we will just draw to a render texture and then offset it and draw it to itself. I think that is here. No, it's not. Here. Yeah, this. I want to do this. Or something not unlike this, I think. Whereas everybody, yeah, that one in particular, where there's some rotation on it. So that everybody could just draw some psychedelic nightmare. That'll be cool, right? We might just steal some of this code. That one, I like that one. So, how do they do that? So they've got a bunch of little objects. They rotate. Let's see, what do they do? They go through each of the items. So this is just rotating the individual sprites. They have two buffers. The output sprite points to a new buffer. Then it messes up the whatever's in that sprite and renders it to the other one. So it just alternatingly renders to the render buffer. And then this is what's weird, is this rotation. Although, why are they rotating this and not this? I don't quite understand that part. But this is part of the trick here. I guess they're both sort of important. I want a better way though. Okay, well, let's just get started on this. Hopefully that deploy is ready. And let's just make a new demo. You can go away, Redis. You hang out for a minute. We don't need this. Okay, so let's go to Heat Viewer. Start a server. This one's called Paint. I want it to be really swimmy though. I want it to be more fluid. Think about that. I mean, they could just sort of fly around like little bees. Like if you flew it around and then you just continually scaled the buffer as you drew it on itself. Something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, paint. And oh, it didn't try to help me. Oh, because I didn't wait. I did the wrong thing. I blew it. New folder, no. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay, now help me. Cool. Thanks, Visual Studio, for typing that for me. Okay, so we need Pixie, and we need kind of the same stuff that's going on here. We've got our own little... This isn't right. I must not have updated that one. I did this one. Because we eventually broke out Heat into its own little library. This is what we want. Oops. Quit it. What is my problem? I'm having cut and paste problems apparently. Okay, so for the most part, I'm gonna not do this. I keep doing this thing where I just put everything inside this scope and it's kind of silly. Maybe I should break it out a little bit. Or maybe I should be consistent. I don't know. I guess what I would actually like to do is to instantiate, like create a class here, and then, is that what I'd like? Maybe I'd like that. Because that would make it easier to break into a file later. Let's just stick with our same silly pattern for now, because maybe we'll go through at some point and refactor all of it, make it less silly. So, good grief. I've been having major shortcut problems today. This is all we really want. Where are you, Paint? That was it. Oh no. Okay, we can do this. Okay, so we just want, all we want, it's a simple thing we want. We just want a div up here, and we want some CSS for said div, and we want, we've been declaring app outside the scope, but there's kind of no reason to, because everything we do is in the scope. Maybe I'll change that one day. Okay, so it's redundant. That's all the setup there. So rotation and scale maybe is all we need. I would like something more fluidy, which I guess we could get with displacement also. Maybe if we had some secret hidden displacement map that was also messing with everything. But let's be simple to begin with. In fact, let's be even simpler and just go to Kiss, because Kiss is, I think, our easiest example. Okay, so we need this, and then we also need click handling. Let's un-jQuery it. Because why not? Yeah, and now so we should also have this click here now, with the opaque ID in it. That's not the right name for this at all. Why would I do that? Falling apart. Falling apart at the seams. Okay, what's broken? Draw click, not defined. That's okay. So, can we send this? Cool. So here's our payload. Details. Yeah, so that is actually me. That is real. So let's do this. Would someone in chat mind giving me some clicks, please? I'm confused why there's no U there. I thought that there would be a U. Did I send the wrong thing? Maybe I did. I bet I sent the wrong thing. Chat, did I send the wrong thing? What's wrong with my brain today? You can't turn on the extension? That's not good. Oh, there's some. Okay, I see clicks. Okay, no, I did something wrong. I sent the wrong ID because I cut and pasted it, and I bet I just did something super silly. Something like send not the opaque ID, but send the channel ID instead is what it looks like I did. I did. Why would I do that? Why? That's the cost of careless cutting and pasting. Okay, so I thought that looked suspicious because it didn't have a prefix. Where's the cooldown thing? This is what we want. Okay. That was our whole thing. Make sure it runs without exploding. Yes. Okay. How are maps? Maps in JavaScript. That's a new cool thing, right? Let's make a map. Does this work? Oh man, everybody can. That's an ES5. No, that's not. That's map as a for arrays. I want map like capital M map. Yeah, that's not what I want. I want map the this key value pair holder. Is that different? Actually, maybe this article says browse compatibility. Okay. Man, even IE has basic support. You can't iterate over it in IE. Okay, this looks well supported. Cool. Cool. How's it going, Active Poison? Ooh, can I use set? Also, what's a set? Oops. Oh, okay. One-dimensional. Cool. This is what happens. You know, I just get used to... I go away from JavaScript for a while, and then I come back, and I'm like, I don't know what works. I don't know what browsers support these days. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to... Let's have a... So my assumption is that when this happens, I can say like, is there like a contains or has? Has. Cool. And then just to add, I'm assuming. Set. So I want a random, what's a good, like, I'm just gonna randomize the hue. I don't want fully random colors though. I've used color. There's an easier way to do this. Oh wait, I probably can. Right, because you can do HSL. I wonder if Pixie will let me define a color like that. I bet it will. I guess we'll find out. No, don't do it. Visual Studio Code. Why do you treat me like this? So I'm guessing that's a 360 value. Yeah. What's the thing? This is a new thing to me too. Okay, so basically we'll say, if I don't know who you are, I'm gonna add you to this map of colors. Let's do that right here. So now I can draw a click with the color. Maybe. Okay, and let's just steal that from here. Kind of all this stuff. It's no longer, it will no longer be a kiss. I've got like one too many splits in my screen. Okay, so that's our screen. We don't care about this at this moment. Let's just do a, we've got a particle in here somewhere. Orbs. In fact, we should steal the orb. Orb code is probably easier. Oh, the poor orbs. That was our first demo, and now it's just fallen to the wayside. Abandoned, forgotten, sad. Okay, yeah. Back when things were called dudes. What's the thing? This? Okay, so cool, but sprites probably doesn't exist, so that's a thing we should make. That was to be additive. Maybe we want that. Additive might be cool. Okay, that adds all the nonsense. Then we draw, we stick something in there. Then our render loop is this. I don't know. That's not it. Where are we? Terrific. Let's just do it. We probably don't want this to be transparent at this point. Okay. These are our glowing fellows. So the real question is, I need a draw click. I need to make up an ID, first of all. Ah, man, we shouldn't do that here. Oh, that's fine. We can just do like can I do this? Okay. I know, the poor orbs. The orbs will be back. We'll bring the orbs back. Well, they'll come back better than ever. So the tent, I don't know if it's gonna let me get away with this. Okay, my clicks are red. Life is yours. Could you click for me? I should log the color before you do. Are your clicks? Oh, wait, did I not deploy that after I fixed the color? That's still wrong. That's not good. Did I not deploy? For 10 bucks? Okay, wait, 10 US dollars or 10 krona. Okay, well that's just wrong in every way. Although that's still Knock or noke? Okay, I'm getting HSL values that do not seem valid, which is a bummer because I was hoping I could do that. Maybe it's just because these should not be floats. I thought I deployed that after I changed the thing. Oh, I didn't commit it. I didn't commit it. You have to commit it because weirdly, even though it doesn't seem like it should, the EB deploy thing looks inside your repository. That's my fault. It's kind of counterintuitive. So you can make code changes and think you're all good, but when you call EB deploy, it looks inside your it looks at your Git repo and does not send uncommitted changes. $10 noke, is that like less than a penny? 0.8 cents or something like that? Okay, so well, that's a bummer. This probably wants not I think 3JS lets you do that, actually. I think 3JS lets you use HTML, any valid HTML color, including CSS, but I could be totally wrong about that. Yeah. Some kind of parser for that. I think that 3JS lets you do that. It seems like browsers should know how to do that. Like, oh, right. One NOK is 12 cents. Man. Okay, I think my shortcut was just not worth it. Lame. Okay. I want... Basically, I want random colors with a fixed saturation and a fixed lightness, brightness value, whatever you want to call it, and only randomize the hue. Which weirdly, browsers support declaring colors in terms of hue, saturation, and lightness for CSS, but doesn't seem to be a way to deal with that in JavaScript easily. I just want like the shortest path. I don't happen to remember. Yeah, well, this is just to make a... This is what I was trying to get away with. But I did not find an obvious immediate way to go from those CSS color strings to actually there's some little library I used once upon a time. I just can't remember. Some little Tiny Color. That was the very one, I believe. When was the last time Tiny Color was updated? Not too long ago. So I'd want to like specify this, and then I would want to get hex out of it. So this seems reasonable. Kind of seems like the browser should know how to do that, because it obviously knows how to do it on some level. It's just not exposed. More dependencies. Look at these dependencies growing. Covered in dependencies. Okay, so what am I doing? I want to specify Like I kind of want to do this and then get a 2 hex from it, I guess. That's fine. It's fine. Just annoying. So we would do something like Tony color. No. I'm assuming these are 1 and 1. What are you talking about? It's right there. And then what was it? 2 hex? 2 hex string. Just 2 hex. I don't know. Okay. Ooh, bad. It's not? What was it? HEX. Probably just cut out the middle here. Well, oh, it doesn't even, like, it's not even the, like, I want a true number. I want like an actual hex number, not a, like, I want it in hex. Can I just do this? It's gonna fall for it. Hey, look at that. Okay, so that was white. Probably hue here is not actually, I bet in this case hue is 0 to 1, just to float. But still. Why are the hues always white? What am I doing? What did I do wrong? I mean, is it truly just not liking that string? Do I need to like not? Okay, let's do a couple things. First, let's make sure that hue where was that? Where did we create the 0.5? That looks like it wants to be a float. Okay, so let's say this is a float. And then I mean, this seems like a trick. Seems like a lie. %100 lightness? Isn't that okay? Or do you think 100% lightness is blowing it out to white? Maybe. I don't ever think in terms of lightness. looks weird. Tiny color, why are you treating me like this? Well, let's do this. This will make it a little easier to test when we can just cram in input. Okay. And if I put in hue 0.5, lightness 0.5, why would you be red? And that kind of makes me think that this isn't like, I need like a parse hex. Is that a real thing? Oops. Not Unity. Yeah, Unity on the brain. I kind of feel like I should be able to get away with that. Hue 0.5 should be blue, right? Zero should be red, so that's right. 180 should be blue, is it? Oh, okay. It is. This is 360. Okay. And yes, lightness does need to be 0.5. I was thinking in terms of value. Okay, cool. That makes more sense. So this is times 180. I'll just leave mine red. Why? Wait, what did I do? Not 180, 360. Thought I changed that. Okay, finally. Okay, now when you click people, we should have different colors per person. So my direct clicks in the window are red. My clicks in the browser are green. And if anybody else wanted to click, then they should hopefully get more colors. So starting with this, we can just do the weird render texture stuff. I like the color green I got. It looks like a lime popsicle. So that's good news. Oh no! I did something ridiculous. Oh man. That's lame. That's not cool. I did something not cool. That's a disappointment. Oh wow. Hopefully the stream quality is okay. I just realized that I had disabled local recording while I was doing the 30-hour stream, and I forgot to turn it back on. So I have not been doing a local recording, which I like to do. So that's lame. The title of my sex tape. Wait, Life is Yours. You were green also? Why were you green also? Are we still getting the wrong value? Oh, look. Uh-oh. I couldn't deploy. So that means we're still getting the channel ID. That's scary. Why is my deploy not working? Speaking of sex tapes, tangentially related to sex tapes, I had such a weird dream the other night. I don't usually have racy dreams. And when I do, something always goes wrong in them, like just something, whatever. I get thwarted in some way. Like it's been a thing like most of my life is I can't make it into a racy dream. And I had a racy dream. I was getting intimate with a person, and I knew I was like in a family house or something, and we didn't want to get caught. But then a person didn't catch us, but this tiny person in a rowboat showed up, like in this sort of little wicker rowboat just appeared floating in the air. And at first I was like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just a tiny person. We can continue. But then it turned out that tiny person in the rowboat was some sort of witch. And the witch put a curse on me and ruined my sex dream. And then the rest of the dream was just bad things happening to me because I had been cursed by a witch. It was a little weird. So now when things go badly for me, like, today when I get rejected, I just think of this little witch, maybe like floating around me as this little witch placing curses on me, trying to hold me back in life. Okay, now I have a valid user ID. So I have a valid user ID and I am purple. So life is yours. If you would not mind clicking, or binary C, just somebody in there. Just so we see if I get, so now I should get IDs prefixed by A, because you should all be anonymous. Well, that's weird. That still says you. Okay. What? Okay, well, unfortunately, you're just a very slightly different color of purple. Yeah, I am. Okay, well, that's the beauty of random numbers, I guess, is that we are just two very slightly different. I'm like a violet and you're a purple. Great. My subconscious is tripping me up. Okay, I'll be red, and I'm red and orange. You want your specific purple? I don't know what to tell you about that. It's gonna be... Okay, you're green. Okay, we at least have different people. So this is a start on differentiating users. This would let us kind of gamify things in a way, like with the Bebby, we could different people could place different foods, or on the sequencer, different people could trigger different instruments. Like that could be cool. Like as you came in as a user, you could get put into different hoppers. Okay, well, look at this beautiful thing you've created. We're back to the orbs. Ooh, who's that? Somebody is purple. Somebody got your... Oh, that's a little more of a blue than your purple. Okay, well, I think the first thing we need to do is make these huge. This should be kind of pretty. Maybe they should be bigger. Even bigger. Can they have velocity? They could. I think they could like squirm around a little bit randomly. Collision? I don't know. We could. I don't know that Pixie offers that. It wouldn't be too hard to write some, like... I mean, spherical collision is the easiest collision. Yeah, let's give them a little, like a random... I wish that Pixie had... What was it called? It's lowercase, right? And then we could just add... I wish Pixie had support for vectors. This might be really slow. Really, this should be times the delta and should probably be bigger. How dare I? Is that not right? Do I have to? I mean, that should just work. Like, I crammed in other stuff before. I mean, it's not like it's... Oh, that's why. Whoa. Why? Oh, because I made the sine wave is offset by their velocity. I mean, by their x and y position. That's not good. That's not good. Oops. Okay. And we also need to make this minus 0.5. Something like this. They should maybe never be that fast. Oh, lava. Oh yeah, that's true. You could always only have one sprite, and I could know who you are, and it could be labeled. Yeah, so you could, instead of, like, you could instantiate a sprite and then have it move around, and that could just always be you. Maybe we should do that, and then you would have your own one sprite, and it would just always be interpolating to where you want to be. Would that be better? Should we just finish this paint thing, or should we just do that? My computer's struggling because I'm not killing any of these. I can hear it. I can hear it already. Man, is it that hard to draw a bunch of sprites, computer? I can't even refresh the browser window. Ouch. Okay, so let's do this then. When we make a well, we already have orbs. We could I mean, paint, this is basically just orbs at this moment. We could go back to orbs and make you your own orb. I do want to add the blurry stuff to this, but Binary C, what you're talking about sounds kind of more interesting right now. Let's do it. Let's go modify orbs. And then maybe we'll revisit paint. So let's modify orbs in the following way. One, we don't need any of this stuff anymore because now we have our heat library, right? You want it to bounce? Yeah, we could bounce it. But I want to do the orbs now. Well, Life is Yours, we will revisit painting. I'm not done with painting yet. That painting could probably be the coolest one to just leave doing its own thing. But I am intrigued by this user-specific idea that we have. Man, orbs is weird. Orbs can play the guitar. Orbs is a weird file. Yeah, orbs is where we have the guitar playing. Should probably come out of there. Okay, let's backport some stuff from orbs, from paint back to orbs. So we don't need any of this stuff anymore. I guess I'll leave the audio for the moment, even though that's silly. Oh wait, this also, orbs also has all the grid-based stuff. I don't think we want to mess with orbs actually. Yeah, let's not mess with orbs because orbs has some other weird specific stuff in it. Orbs is in a special place right now. Oh man, Plinko. Oh yeah, you could do lots of like gambling-ish games, I guess. Okay. Let's just do this. Let's do No, I like this. I think this is appropriate for paint. We'll just make paint individual users, and like we can have some of the same stuff, but we won't do the bouncing. We'll go add the bouncing back to reward with bits. I would reward with erotic Minecraft art commissions. That would be the reward. Okay, so here's what we'll do. I think we'll do the following. Whoops. We will What's the syntax for this? Is it just this? Is that how that works? That's not right. What's it called? I'm missing something. classes in JavaScript are such new exotic things that I just can't remember. Where did we use one? We just used one somewhere. Oh, heat. Heat itself is a class. Oh, that is right. Why didn't that... What did I do wrong? Oh, I'm not extending anything. Duh. Wait. No, don't do. Yeah, of course. Obviously. I was thinking I was going to extend the event emitter stuff, but we're not going to. We don't need to. Right, we don't need that. Okay, so we'll just make a new brush, and the constructor will take, I guess, the initial X, Y. Well, just the initial X and Y, I guess. I don't even need that. I don't think. I think we just... Constructor doesn't need to do anything at this moment. I don't think. You can't just... You don't declare anything out here, right? Everything in a class in JavaScript, you have to... is kind of this. Everything has to be this. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I shouldn't look up documentation. It's rude. Rude of me. Is this right? No. Just update. Draw. Something like this. Yeah, okay. So we'll probably actually do this all at once. So we'd loop through here. Yeah, so what we'll do is anytime we have a new friend, if we don't know who you are, then we will say, and then we will set your brush. And then down here is where we will actually make the color. Update will take the XY. This is where you'll say like who you are. I guess we could do that in the constructor also. And then whenever there, otherwise we'll just call update on you. Binary, is that the goal? Are we gonna have a MMO? I pitched Draclin on a game idea. He didn't like it. He was gonna he's been working on a multiplayer setup for Unity and wanted me to kill some beetles with him. But I want to make a game where you're like, you don't go around killing the monsters. You're like the monster veterinarian after the hero comes through and you help heal them. So you would go hug the beetles. Okay, so why did I do this? That's not how any of this should work. We want something like this. And then this ID would just be like -1. You don't get a color. I agree, Binary C. I definitely want to do something like once this is all done and I can focus less on it as a thing and more on making things with it. I definitely want to do a weird VR experience that's like me versus chat. Okay, so yeah, we want to say all this stuff needs to happen in here. Actually, I needed something. Or it is. I deleted something I wanted. No, there it is. Put all this stuff in here. So basically we're going to say, if I don't know who you are, we create you. If I know who you are, we update you. That seem correct? Something like that. You could come into my outer space with the sun. We could go back to the sun thing and chat could be little planets or something. Okay. Do I like this? Because then all we need to do is, when it's time to, we don't do this anymore. We only do this when we create. This would no longer be the draw click. This would be the constructor. Oh, this is a little annoying. I need to add... Okay, what I would like to do, actually, if I can then... I wonder if I can. So it'd be cool to extend the Pixie sprite and just add my own stuff to it. I wonder if I can. I wonder if their stuff's written in such a way to make that possible. I think it isn't. No, it is. I could extend it. And then I could call super with a texture. Okay. So I do this, and then I will call super I'm not sure that's the right syntax. But something like that, and then I would add it like when it was created. I'm not really sure about that. That is a very made up thing. How bad is it? Yeah, I think you have to do, let's see, pixie.texture, dot from. Okay, it's not bad. So then I already, then this X should already be valid. Some of this stuff is not great, should not be inside here, but let's try this. And then this would be actually our tent. So that's native Pixie stuff, that's native Pixie stuff, this is native Pixie stuff, this is stuff that we're starting to make up, but we should no longer need, what's the freaking thing? Okay. that true? Can I do this? And then when it's in here, I don't iterate through the sprites. I iterate through the brushes, through the map. Kind of do like IDs up for each. I wonder. And then I would just call brush draw. I don't have a delta here. Pass the delta in. And a clock. That's kind of annoying that we need both. Kind of redundant. So one thing is we always want to be lerping towards the click, actually. We don't want to just instantly jump there. So initially we'll be instantly jumping, but that's not what we want. So this is not going to work super well. Let's ignore that for the moment. Actually, wait. We only want the clock. We don't even need the delta. Because we don't want to animate it like that. We'll just be lerping towards whatever the target is. That's not how you spell clock at all. Oh, just to clean up all this nonsense I made up. Okay, well. Okay, now I have a click that is my click. So if anybody else were to click, you should get your own personal click. If I click here, that is also... Okay, cool. So now we want we want to lerp towards that target. So whenever we get an update, we will say, the first thing we'll do is like say this.target equals new pixie.point this.x this.y. And we will, and then when we get an update, the thing we will update is not the X and Y, we will update the target. And we'll just continually lerp towards that. Right? 10% of the way between those 2 points. Oh yeah, there's no lerps. Oh, we wrote it last time, right? What did we write that for? What the heck were we doing? Why can't I remember this? What did we wrote all that like vectory. Oh, it's for the Bebby. For the Bebby. The Bebby knows how to lerp. Okay, so we want to figure out like, yeah, we got to say where we are, and then we want to go like 10% of the way there. So we can steal that from the Bebby. The Bebby knows how to lerp. Excuse me for hitting the microphone. So the first part of the Bebby's animation is this whole business is really how we decided to lerp with a maximum speed. Seems like a lot of work. You just got a flashback? Where are you getting flashbacks? Okay. All this nonsense is about lerping. So the first thing we do is just get the offset between where we want to be and where we are. That's this. Then we find the length of that offset. Then we normalize it. Then we say if the length is greater than 100 pixels equals 100 pixels. I'm sorry, is it really that loud when I hit the mic? I apologize. Then we do need the delta in here. We just pass clock and delta. Kind of need both, right? Like, clock is just a cumulative timer. Like, maybe clock should just be a thing that anybody can have. That's what I kind of think. That's what I kind of think. I don't know if that's good. I mean, we got stuff up here. We can have a clock up here. We need to pass delta in here. Make it global. That's global enough. I mean, this is basically our global scope. Everything I've done is scoped inside here. Just so, for no reason, really, just so I can grab all of this one day and break it out. More global. Is that not global enough for you? I don't have any code outside of that scope. Let's see. So then we will say, I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can, unfortunately. We have to do like this.x equals. This can just be plus equals offset x, I think. That's seriously global. Okay. This will always be lerping us. It's that same trick that I like. Like at 5%, every frame will go 5% times the delta towards where we want to go. I thought I passed delta in here. Did I not? 159. Okay. Well, I've broken something quite seriously. This doesn't belong here. How is that still in there? How is that even working? Okay, everything's broken. Great. We don't need velocity anymore. Allegedly. Okay. I screwed something up. I got the offset. I did all the nonsense. I said this. Okay, let me make sure we're at least still drawing at all where we want to draw. It appears we are not. So what did I do? Let me make sure I'm not like scaling it into nothing or something. I don't know. Who knows what I broke? Okay, maybe I was scaling it into nothing. It would appear that that might be the case. So why is that true? Is clock not global enough? Is life is yours right? Because this is a... Oh, well, it's a class. I mean, it seems a little silly to have everybody maintaining their own clock, but... Does clock have to be more global because that's a class? That doesn't seem right. That seems weird. Maybe I just can't have that inside there. Or what else? Maybe I screwed it something else up. I easily could have messed something else up. Could be the seed. Okay, ignore that for the moment and let's do this. Let's try to get our targeting working and then we'll... Okay, that is broken too. In addition, everything's a little broken. Great. Okay, comment on that for a moment. Oops. We can draw. Now, when we try to draw this, something is wrong. So, well, that's probably our problem, is in one case we're... No. So offset should be nothing to start with. Not a number. Not a number. Okay. We have a this dot target with an X and a Y. Why does this dot X and this dot Y not? I thought sprites just knew that. Did I give it something bad in the constructor or not give it in the constructor? It would appear that I did. ID. You do know what you're talking about. It is true. What? Well, but the problem seems to be that that has a value in here. Once I'm inside here, what this does it think I am? Thinks I'm a brush. But a brush that doesn't have an X and a Y? Why would that be true? it knew about it here. Maybe I screwed it up here. Okay, did I like mess it up? Yeah, maybe it was valid one frame and then I screwed it up after that. Do I have like one good frame of this.y? I do. Okay, that's all it is. I'm doing some not good math here somewhere. So this is not good. Is delta not happening? I'm calling delta. Delta should come from here. No, I want X in the base class. That I'm just updating it, and that seems okay. But it seems like somehow I'm getting bad values here. Like I'm guessing this is going to be not a number, so I'm just doing something bad somewhere in the math leading up to this. So weirdly, it's valid the first time and then gets not valid. I don't want other names. I want it to be X and Y. Yeah, look, already at 59, I'm dead. So between here and here, something goes south. So what? We just need to go through, I guess, one at a time and figure out what I'm breaking. So that's okay the first time. Length of 0, which is correct. Oh, am I dividing by 0? I think I'm dividing by 0. I'm dividing by 0. Wouldn't you think the browser would tell me that? I feel like that's a thing that the, I bet, man, that's weird. Wouldn't you think that it would say like, hey, dude, you're dividing by 0? But it didn't. That's not an error that I feel like I should have to know. Yeah, don't you feel like, I feel like divide by 0 is like the quintessential error. It's like, hey, don't divide by 0, dude. Look at my little orb, easing around in space. Life is yours. Where's your orb? It returns infinity? It returned none for me. It returned non a number. Wait, how did somebody just get a bunch of different colors? Was that all you? How did you get different colors every time? Oh, are there multiple people playing? Well, that still seems like more colors than it should be. Or is that all one person? That would be unfortunate if your opaque ID was changing that rapidly. Who all is clicking right now? Okay, it was Ben's fault. Binary's clicking. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I was worried that like one person's click was coming in as different opaque IDs every frame. You got your color? Almost. Well, that's pretty handy. So a later version of this, we could do a thing where you could opt in and give your ID and then your name could be shown next to it. And that would be pretty cool because then you could have like in-game labeled characters. I should be able to drag you. I could kill you. I could just stomp you and kill you. Okay, well, what do we want to do with this? We could do, put you in the trash. We could, I want to put the sine wave back. even though the clock seemed like it wasn't working. Okay, the clock is broken. Whatever. Oops. Okay, now we're little sparkly bugs. Little fireflies. Oh, we're having a little rave here. Flappy orbs. Yes, we've created flappy orbs. Oops. Okay, clock. Nobody likes you. Okay, so how are we doing here? 10 o'clock, 2-hour stream. I don't want to stream a ton longer, but what I would like to do is like an accumulation buffer thing, I think, where we have a render texture that we always render to. How did we do that with the video? How did we make sure that the sprites didn't appear? So we made the sprites, we render the sprites here, but did we not actually? Okay, so the trick is to just not add the sprites. So to do a render texture, okay, so here's what we would do. We would need to make a, let's add a resize event. Let's unjQuery it. Texture resize. Yeah, okay. So what we need to do is this is down here where we render this. This will actually just be us updating the sprites but not drawing them. And then we will draw them like this, but we won't clear it. Is this the thing we want to do? And then we just need to create that render texture and stick it in a sprite. And we do want it, maybe. I think we need to see this, but I think we don't want to see this. That may be totally wrong. Sprite is not defined, 108. Ah, so in that case, we got that size from this other sprite, and that sprite came from here. So we want this app.render width and height, because we only want one sprite in this case. Oops. I can feel myself scowling. Okay, clock is not oh, good heavens. I don't want you anymore, clock. Okay, so this is the render texture. right? If I don't draw the sprites here, nothing should happen. Okay, so that's weird because I'm not clearing this render texture. Look at this rave going on. Well, I had kind of hoped that would just magically work, but it did not just magically work. I love the dances you're all doing. It looks great. Okay, let's try to find that example. How did they do it? Because I just don't want the render texture to get cleared. I want to render to it, and I want to render to it every time, and I don't want to update it. So I thought that's what I would be doing. Okay, so they make a render texture. Current texture. They make a sprite. They add that. They have a stuff container. False. Okay. Well, okay. Yes and or no. The problem is this is going to get blown out so fast. So what we would need to do is maybe draw 50% alpha. Okay, so if we drew like half alpha over this, it would gradually fade. So if we did like 0.1, it would take 10 frames to fully fade. Not true. No, true, do this, but then that clears too fast. 0.01? I'm kind of confused here. So false is no clear color. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, well, the render texture is both where like the off-screen buffer that I'm rendering to, but then I'm also showing it as a big sprite. And I want to P5 would not stand up to this. I mean, under the hood, it's all the same stuff, really. I mean, it's all graphics contest, but I feel like this is what I'm trying to do here is a little easier with Pixie. Maybe not. It at least feels more performant. I don't know where P5 is in terms of WebGL acceleration. I like P5, but it never felt like the highest performance thing to me. You know? But it's been a couple years. Where's the documentation? Yes. Renderer. Freezes your tab. This does or P5 does? Uh-oh, is this frozen? Oh, P5 WebGL? Okay. So clear before render. Preserve. Clear before render false. Preserve. Taltech, how's it going? Well, we're trying to have like a drawing rave now, but I'm slightly struggling with a render problem. So what I would like to do, Life is Yours, is this. Basically, I have this off-screen buffer that I'm drawing to every frame, and that's why it does this cool accumulation effect, and I'm totally fine with that. I want to clear it. Normally, normal practice when rendering to a buffer like that is to clear every frame, which is what we were doing before. It's like start with a clean canvas every time. But in like just regular old GL world, you don't have to clear with something totally opaque. You could clear with a semi-transparent thing. And if you draw, and then the next frame you are gonna draw again, but you draw like a very thin opaque layer over it or transparent layer over it and do that every single time, the old stuff will gradually fade out. And so that is what I feel like I'm trying to do, but it is not reacting in the way that I would normally expect something like this to work. So this is calling renderer.render, and I'm sure there's some kind of like base renderer. I can't quite tell what their inheritance is for that WebGL renderer. Like, why doesn't this tell me the thing that it extends? Does it? Oh, it does, right in front of my face. It's in front of my face. Yeah, you should be able to do it anywhere. I mean, that's not like a P5 thing. That's just, you should be able to clear, but not. Okay, so check this out. If the scene is not transparent, we'll use a canvas-sized fill rect operation. Every frame to set. If the scene is transparent, it will use clear rect to clear the canvas. What? Oh, okay. If it is not transparent, it'll use a fill rect. If it is, it will use a clear rect. Well, that's kind of lame. So that's what I'm adding tonight, Taltech, is the idea that each individual has a unique identifier. So if you, I can't remember if you're added. Are you added? So if you started clicking on the stream, you would get your own color. So that's a new feature. Right now, the identifier is, it's called the opaque ID from Twitch. So it's not, I can't link it back to your username or anything like that. That's something I would maybe add in a later version. Unfortunately, you have to kind of opt in for that. So I think the problem is they're using clear rect, which is truly clearing rather than drawing over it. So I think what we have to do, I guess the easy answer is just to draw a sprite. Like just draw another sprite on top. So I'm sure they're doing that for performance reasons, but I kind of wish they weren't. Especially since I have a explicit clear color here. Like in the render texture, when I say clear color, I would normally expect that to be like, hey, that's the color I want you to clear with, my friend. Well, okay. That's just a render target. Maybe. I mean, so the real way you're supposed to like profit off of extensions is through bits, and then you get a cut of whatever bits are used through your extension. That's like the Twitch approved way to monetize. I don't know if I've seen anything else as far as like licensing an extension individually to parties. I don't know that I've seen anything like forbidding it. Okay, so what we'd have to do is this. So we would draw. First, we would render the sprites. How would we do this? This is a pretty weird one. I mean, we kind of want to do this. And just never clear it. And then we would need to make a scrim. So, how do I want to do this? Each click would cost a bit. That's one way to do it. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the most straightforward way, is just a one-to-one relationship between clicks and bits. I'm not focused on that for the first release, but it's definitely on the to-do list, is to figure out like how and if I want to do that and get so rich when Draclin runs his clickerator and clicks 12 million times and owes me $1 trillion. How do I want to do this? I need to like... erases. So I guess the easiest way I can see to do it is patent illustrations. Cool. Have a good night, Taltech. I don't want to do this. I feel like this should be not this annoying. Clear. Because this is like erases the active render target and then fills with the color, but that's not what I want to happen. I want it to just put that color on top. I want an infinity machine. Okay, my brain is just getting tired because this should not be this complicated. I want to fade stuff and then draw new stuff on top of it. So a real easy way to do that is just draw a black square, right? So they have this graphics thing. I haven't used it yet, but graphics is a way to do a thing. What if you have to do this every frame? If we just do it? I feel like there's just some piece of this that I'm missing. We certainly do it with our own shader, but It really feels like there's a way I should be able to do this without... That's just like a big solid image. Oh yeah, I didn't do that yet. Render texture. Change the texture. Which is where we're setting, well, maybe that's the trick, is the clear. I don't remember why I was doing that now. I was deliberately clearing with solid black. That's why? It was frustrating because I feel like the thing I want to do is not that hard. I just don't know what Pixie calls it. Mistake. Okay, I don't actually know the right way to do this, so I will do it in a silly way. I think. How are they animating that graphics? On click. Okay. they cleared it and then did it. Okay, that's fine. So let's just do this. I actually want this probably sooner. I could do that. I could draw it to a separate render texture, but instead I'm going to just do a graphics. Just draw a big rectangle. Because there's like transparent fills here. You can fill with transparency. So we will draw a rect. I don't want a line. Oh, weird. How did that? How did begin fill? This begin fill doesn't have an end fill? Oh, we want something like this, kind of. And then let something like this, which I guess is probably coordinates, and then this would just be black. And then before we render our buddy, we would render our scrim. Problem is, this just seems silly. We'll have to resize the scrim every time. Okay, I don't know if I did that exactly correctly, but I think that general idea will work. Ruined it. Pixie.graphics. Yep. That's not the shortcut I hit at all, but okay, cool. Okay, cool. So that's working, it's just fading way too fast. I hope we can like fade small enough. Okay, cool, yeah. Okay, so that's not fast enough. I get so blobby when maybe it should be really slow. Problem with using that sprite is you see the issues with the JPEG or with the image. What we'd really probably want to do is generatively create that. It's funny how that afterglow maintains for so long. It may be that the graphics is only really like 8-bit. You're right. It will never fully reach 0, which is why probably the real answer is to do this in a shader. And then we could ramp it in some weird way. But it got close-ish to 0 here. Now the problem is if we scale the window up, I think it won't work. Yeah. Although that seemed like it extra didn't work, not just because of the scrim. I thought we were... Oh, our window resize is broken. We don't use this anymore. I wonder if we could do that. Like just scale the graphics. So on resize, we would basically have to redraw the graphics, which is not the worst thing. Seems like a lightweight operation. Still feels clunky and goofy, but here we are. Like in here, we would need to, what was it? Scrim.clear? Yeah, I think that worked. Our poor PNG just doesn't look so great once it scales up like that. I wonder if you can draw gradient. I wonder what would actually be the highest resolution way to do that. Probably as a shader. Just some custom shader that knew how to draw with the fall off. Go over the pixels? Well, I could, but I don't really need. I mean, if I just was in a, if I just did all this through a shader, then the shader could just throw anything away. Like, rather, in general, anything that involves iterating over pixels, I think is a bad idea. Like, if you're going to iterate over pixels, you should be doing it in a shader. Because then you don't have to iterate. You can do every pixel simultaneously. Kinda. Okay, so the one thing this really needs is excuse me. How are we doing that sign? Did we make this background transparent? What does that do? This is going to be a problem because it's going to like fill in as black when I really want it to be like, I just want to draw to the alpha and not to the other channels. Oh, that kind of sucks. How would I do that? I don't like this clearing square thing. How would I fix it in a shader? Because I want it to be transparent. I want it to always be transparent. And so I don't ever want to draw color. I only want to draw alpha. And the only way I would really know how to do that is in a shader. So we could add a filter. It's a little tricky. How's it going? The Goon Pontoon, thank you for the raid. I was in the middle of trying to make decisions and I'm just staring off into space. Welcome. We're trying to do this multi-user thing. Oh man, and it's in review. Okay, well, man, should I unreview it so I could add more people? So we've been working on this Twitch extension for a few weeks for this Twitch extension contest that lets you interact with the video by clicking on it. And so right now we're having a little rave. I'm clicking on it. A few other users are clicking on it. I put it into beta review or into review for Twitch and then had to leave my channel running for 30 hours. And then they just sent me an email that said we couldn't figure it out. So I have to resubmit it. It's a little annoying. It's a little bit annoying. So in the meantime, I've been adding some features to kind of let me know when different people are clicking. So we have other demos that don't necessarily know like who's who, but that's something I was just working on. So it's a little bit rough at the moment. I know it broke my heart a little bit to wait, like to stream, leave a stream running for 30 hours. And then Twitch is like, we couldn't figure it out. Tragic. It's a tragic story. So it's okay. We cleaned up some bugs. I hopefully submitted documentation they will be happier with. I hope. So the extension making process is not horrible. They're definitely trying to make it better. It's a little counterintuitive in some ways. It's been mostly kind of fun and interesting. Really, the hardest part was that for the contest, you have to use AWS, and really the AWS part was the most annoying part. The Twitch part has been okay. It's just some things just don't make a ton of sense. Man, how are we gonna make this better? We may not go too much further with this one tonight because I want to. My brain's not quite working, and I want to do this in a shader, I think, so we could get smooth edges. There is supposed to be a new. They're supposed to like totally revamp the backend. I can walk you through the extension a little bit. So there's kind of three major pieces to it. The first is the extension itself, which is really just a set of HTML and JavaScript files that you hand over to Twitch. So that is kind of what I've thought of as the extension front end. And in my case, it's really just this. It's 2 HTML files and 2 JavaScript files. And one of those is for the configuration page, and one of those is for what actually loads on every Twitch viewer's browser. And mine is dead simple because all I'm really doing is getting your clicks and sending them out into the world. There's some parts about that are annoying. There's some security things, there's some limitations, but in general, it works kind of okay. So that's like what actually runs in the viewer's browser. And you can kind of make that as complicated or non-complicated as you want. In my case, it's super simple. I'm just drawing a cursor and capturing the clicks. The second piece is called the EBS. It's the extension backend service. And it's a server that you write. So it's kind of, you do whatever you want. So I wrote that in Node.js. Mine is not huge. Like this is the whole server really. And all I'm doing is like getting clicks in, verifying that they came from Twitch, verifying that the user isn't on cooldown, verifying the data is good. And that's kind of all this does. It's a little more complicated than that because it uses some AWS stuff and it uses a Redis server so that you can have multiple instances spun up. And then in my case, the third part is like the front end sort of browser overlay part that kind of exists outside of the Twitch world. And it's really just a client for everything else. So none of it is crazy complicated. It's just, there's kind of a lot of steps and a lot of moving parts. But yeah, it's definitely fun. I hadn't really considered it. I've made like weird chat-based stuff and bot-driven things, but I hadn't really thought of doing an extension until I found that there was this contest that the first prize is like $15,000. So I was like, I should probably do that. But I found it pretty late. So it started in November and it ends in like 6 days. And so I found it earlier this month. So I've really only been working on it a few weeks. I'm probably behind other people. So it's this thing. The rules are pretty simple. It's like build an extension and be sure that it uses AWS and you could win 15 Gs. Here, I'll throw the link into chat. Unfortunately, the time is almost up. So I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence. The thing I'm making is pretty weird. So I don't know that I have a ton of confidence that grand prize will happen or even any of these, but I'm feeling pretty good about honorable mention. I think there was something like, I can't remember. I think there's something like 600 people that entered. 650 people-ish. That doesn't mean that they're all going to actually submit. I would kind of imagine that if only a fraction of that would submit, and then I bet some of those people are on teams and on and on and on. So I don't even know. I guess I would guess maybe there's going to be 100 submissions. I don't know. So yeah, so the back end is in a pretty good place. I'm waiting for Twitch to approve the front end, which is proving to be a little annoying. And then other than that, I've just been working on little demos for it. So I can show you some of those demos. Man, this one's pretty close. This one's pretty freaking close. I don't think it's quite ready yet. It's not ready yet. I'm not going to put it on the demo page quite yet. But I think it's pretty close. I mean, you might get solid number 2. Very classy. Let's see. So some of our demos are as follows. Let me just go to the demo page, because actually I made it where you can change the demos from the stream. So everything that I'm going to do now, I will be doing by clicking on the stream itself, not anything else. So I can like click the stream and change to this mode. Oh, I'm not full screen. My click was in the wrong place. Yeah, okay. First one, yeah. So first one is a heat map. You can, there's a little bit of stream delay, but you can click and where everybody, and I mean, this could be any background. This is just kind of the example background. I live up here in Oregon. Dracklin's like here in Arizona. Life is Yours is up here in a castle made of ice. I can't quite click all the way up there. So we got that thing. We have the kissing booth. This was made for Valentine's Day. So on Valentine's Day, you can give hundreds of kisses. Which all of these also I've used as video overlays. Really, these purple backgrounds are just for demo purposes. I know, I'm sorry I clicked on Sweden. I couldn't get all the way up to Norway. I apologize. I know I couldn't quite get up there. It's the I'm clicking on the tiny little window in my dashboard. The sequencer is pretty cool. Sequencer might be the best one. So everybody can just click around and I'll pause the techno music. I'm gonna cheat and draw directly on the window. No worries, Goon. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the raid. Right now I'm using it. Life is Yours is clicking. I think Encode was clicking a little earlier. Who else was clicking stuff? Dracklin was earlier on. Talltech was clicking. Binary C was clicking. I don't know who all is actively clicking at this moment, but yes, other people. It's not all just me. And then we have the baby. This is the hungry babby. So you can click around, make snacks for the babby. That's a lot of snacks. Someone is very aggressively feeding the babby. Who is it? Is it you? Why are you trying to overfeed the babby? And then finally is this warp one, which this one's really designed to be a video filter. But again, this is just kind of set up so that Twitch can use it without me sitting at my computer for 30 hours. Although seemingly they couldn't figure out how to use it. So maybe I should have sat at my computer for 30 hours. I was at my computer for a lot of that 30 hours, hoping they would come by. They did not. It's okay, Twitch. I'm not mad. I'm a little mad. I'm going to wait until after the contest to talk about really bluntly what I thought about the developer process and AWS and all that. I probably need to be a little kinder while I'm trying to win their money. Maybe. Oh no, why is my stream quality just dipped? Why'd that happen? So Life is Yours is trying to DDoS me. So yeah, so those are the current demos. No, yeah, I just don't want to I don't know, I don't mind giving constructive feedback, but I don't want to appear so negative. I don't want to broadcast a vibe of negativity, because you don't want to, when people are judging something, you don't want to come at them with that. Man, I don't know. The AWS part has been very frustrating. The AWS free tier is pretty good. And so, that you get just you can use these services for this amount for free, but it's really easy to misconfigure. When I was first testing Elasticache, which is how the Redis stuff runs, I accidentally spun up. Well, it's weird. They have 5,000 different services, and all of them have different free tiers, but the tier will be super specific. And depending on what you want to do, you might be fine with the free tier. I accidentally signed up for a non-free tier cache server for only 24 hours and got charged an amount of money, not a huge amount of money, but an amount of money that I was oh crap. I don't know that I would use it to just host a website. It's really service oriented. It's such a hassle to get going. If I was going to host a static website, host your portfolio or something, if it was non-interactive, I would host it on GitHub or GitLab or Surge or something like that, if you wanted a free place, because it is a hassle to deal with. Now, if you want something that's service oriented, where you're running code and you want some robustness to that, I still wouldn't use it. I would use Heroku, but it's not the worst. It's okay. I've figured it out. I definitely had some frustrating days. You can have your own domain with GitHub. You can have your own domain with Surge. I have a ton of stuff hosted on GitHub that is under my own domain. Surge.sh. I don't use Surge a ton. I use heat.j38 is this is on GitHub. No, that's true. If you just want to throw static stuff on S3, that can certainly be fine. But I feel it's that's still not as easy as just GitHub Pages or Surge or some other options. But I've come around slightly. I was very frustrated with AWS initially, especially getting all the WebSocket stuff working through all of the layers of stuff. It took some stuff. PHP, I don't know that I would do PHP on Heroku. I use I don't do a ton of PHP, but you'd have to pay $5. But my WordPress website I host on DigitalOcean with something called Server Pilot, and Server Pilot is specifically for I don't think they have free. I think I'm grandfathered in with the free program, but it does PHP deployments to DigitalOcean, but I almost never do PHP stuff anymore. Like my website is just still in WordPress land, and that's like the only PHP I even think about. Because I like Node now. Okay, what were we doing? We were working on the paint, but I think I'm gonna go to bed. So I think we made some progress here. We fixed a bug, and we got to start on this new idea of user identity, which I think is pretty cool. I know it is weird. I really like when that flipped. I liked it though. Like the idea of writing the same code on the front end and back end, because I was doing a ton of web stuff at the time that Node started to sort of become popular, and the idea of just because I'd like really early on when I was doing a ton of PHP or even like ASP.NET a million years ago, I just always had a difficulty with that mental shift of like, oh, I'm working on front end code in this language and this syntax. Oh, I'm working on back end code, and I would forget, like, you know, it's just easy to kind of forget what language you're in when you're constantly bouncing back and forth. And so just for the mental relief of not having that problem. A JavaScript engine in Java. I don't think I've even heard of that. Nashorn? Weird. Implement a lightweight, high-performance JavaScript runtime in Java with a native JVM. Lightweight and high performance in Java. Lightweight and high performance in Java. Those three words do not fit together in my mind. High performance Java. Pick any of those? Yeah, right. How's it going, Phil? Yeah, I mean, those aren't really... Well, that's kind of cool, Binary Z. How was that? Okay, so I don't know what to do. I kind of just want to click around. And have an outer space orb rave. I would like to not use the PNG for this. I would like to use some sort of that didn't work very well. That resize did not work at all. I just need to think a little bit more about how this here's thing should work. It's almost cool. Because we could do stuff like they were doing in that Pixie demo where we render to two render textures and then rotate them slightly. And then as we went around, we'd get a little bit of rotation as well. And then that would make it easier to do the fading also. So maybe that's the thing we'll do. Ooh, that's cool. How did you do, like, what is it? OpenCL or like some, I don't know that I've ever heard of GPU accelerated Java stuff. I'm very out of the loop with Java, I should say. My opinions about Java are probably very antiquated at this point. I never even was super into Java. I guess a lot of my Java knowledge just came from working in processing for a long time and then starting to do custom libraries. And then I guess some Android development. But that's weird. Are we accidentally playing the sequencer at the same time? Do I have the sequencer open? How did that happen? Wait. Where's that music coming from? Is the sequencer also running? Okay, the sequencer's running here and it was still getting click data. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, I don't necessarily like Java hanging around on my desktop machines. I still use it, I guess, when I do like in Unity, if you need anything natively to run on an Android device, including like an Oculus Go. Okay, that's probably the most recent Java stuff I've done. Minecraft, if you want to do some serious mods and you don't want the rewrite. Whatever happened to Minecraft beautiful graphics mode? Did that go away? Well, if you get Minecraft from the Windows Store, it's a rewrite. That's not in. I'm pretty sure that the version you get from the Windows Store is not written in Optifine. Is that what it's called? Wait. Is that the thing? No, but that's not the one though, right? What's the one that's a mod, isn't it? What's the one that was like Microsoft was going to make like beautiful mode? God, not Beautiful Modern House. It was like there was a trailer ran like 4 years ago. The Super Duper Graphics Pack. Is that it? Soon you'll be able to make Minecraft look like this. But I don't think it ever happened, did it? Phil Powers, I know basically nothing about Kotlin. Do people use it? Do they like it? Whatever happened to this? Whatever happened to the Super Duper Graphics Pack? The trailer looked so pretty. I don't even have like a strong opinion of Minecraft in general, but I thought like, man, that looks pretty cool. So even as of July 9th, 2018, we still have not... What happened to you, Super Duper Graphics Pack? Microsoft is? I am historically extremely anti-Microsoft to the point of like dogmatic rage against Microsoft, but I feel like in the last few years, Microsoft has been doing better things. Yeah, oh, Windows Phone. I feel like in at least the last few years, they've been doing things a little bit better, I think. I mean, that's my general impression, is they've started to like, I don't actively loathe Microsoft the way that I used to, which is surprising for me to say. It's weird that I own a PC. This is crazy. Life is yours. Windows was always built for IT departments, not for people. But I think Windows 10's better about that. At least you can turn off a lot of that privacy stuff, or turn on the privacy stuff, one or the other. But like, I think they're trying to do interesting things with Xbox, even if they're not in a great position with it right now. I like Visual Studio Code. I think like they didn't immediately ruin GitHub, and they actually instantly made it a little bit better. Yeah, .NET stuff has been pretty all right. Like as far as using native .NET stuff in Unity, it's been okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm a person that like did not. I like went out of my way for almost 2 decades to not. More than 2 decades, really. Man, how long was that? No, maybe about 2 decades to like not own a machine that ran any Microsoft products. But I see you like PowerShell. I've been wondering, I've not quite found a shell experience on Windows that I like. That's something that I'm really lacking in Windows. I just don't feel like it's as, for the weird, like, goofy command lining stuff that I like to do in macOS with Homebrew. I just feel like Windows doesn't quite have that. I don't know. I just don't feel like I can as quickly throw together weird things on Windows. I've gotten this machine a little more set up for that, but I still don't have a terminal that I like. Well, so the thing that happened is I switched from Windows to Linux in like, I don't know, 1997, and that was my primary machine for a few years. But then when Mac OS 10 came out, and it was basically like, oh, this is just Unix with a nicer user interface. I've primarily used Macs for much of the last 20 years. But in the last few years, if you want to do things like work in VR, you need a machine that will allow it. Yeah, I for a long time I was a Linuxy person. I mean, that's still the thing I like most about macOS is the BSD-ness of it underneath, and that's what has me kind of interested in like the Windows subsystem for Linux. I compromised for VR. It wasn't necessarily a compromise. Like the world got better. Windows 10 is less awful, but I needed a machine that could have a real GPU in it. And now the solution for that on Mac seems to be, well, yeah, you buy this really expensive machine, and then you also buy a really expensive GPU enclosure, and then you also buy a really expensive GPU, and then you still can't do anything because you don't have any of the software support. So the world got better. Hey, things are better. Things are, in some realms, things are okay. I like it when multiple companies are doing good things and there's competition that seems okay. I still use like anything that is even remotely servery or a thing that just needs to run in a way that I never have to worry about it or think about it. I will always want Linux in that realm. If it's like, hey, this thing needs to just run and never have a problem ever, I will always want Linux for that. If it's a thing I have to just use day to day, moment to moment, I will probably want Mac OS for that. Although that's shifting a little bit, primarily because I hate the keyboard on my 2016 MacBook Pro so much that I want to smash it all the time. That's a bad computer. There's so many things. It's the worst computer I've ever owned. It really bums me out. Like all the things that Apple did to mess up that computer hurts my heart. Okay, with that rant, I think I'm done for tonight. We streamed for 3 hours. We made some progress. They're so bad. Phil, they're so bad. They make me so angry. My 2011 MacBook Air, which I used way beyond like when it was like almost literally falling apart. My favorite computer I've ever owned, hands down. Like I loved that computer, and I waited so long for the new 2016 MacBook Pros to come out because they were such a big refresh. And then I've had it for what, 2.5 years now. I still hate the ports every day. I still hate the keyboard every day. I still think the Magic, or whatever it's called, the touch bar, is worthless. I hate that it doesn't have MagSafe anymore or even a light to let you know that it's on. It just bums me out, man. Those keyboards. I do want to at least try. So mine's the Gen 1, and then now the keyboard, like the butterfly keyboard, and I think the new MacBook Airs have a Gen 3 butterfly keyboard that at least have a membrane underneath so my keyboard won't die every time a single speck of dust gets dropped in it. So some people have said that those Gen 3 ones feel better. I don't know if I believe that. You got a new MacBook Air? How do you feel about the keyboard on that one? It's supposedly to be better than the one that I have, but the one that I have is so, I don't know. There's no throw on the keys. It like actively makes me type more slowly. It could be true. The geniuses are probably bummed out about it. I'll have to go into the store and poke at it. I'm interested to see There's a March event, I think. There's some rumor about a 16-inch MacBook Pro, which I'm not very interested in. I would potentially be interested in upgrading just because I'm so displeased with my machine. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you all for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It was nice to have some company. It was good to stream again after taking a day off to get rejected. I guess I'll just run it again overnight. I don't expect Twitch to look at it overnight, but we'll just run it overnight just to see if anything happens. And then maybe in the morning I'll get up and try to write some more documentation for it. I don't know. I've got some meetings and stuff tomorrow. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks again for the raid. I forgot your handle. What was it? It had G's in it, and the name with the G's was Goon Pontoon. Thank you for the raid, Goon Pontoon. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I know, gosh, we had like 30 hours of just watching the bevy eat. That wasn't so bad, right? Viewers liked it. Okay, I'm really done. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. We will try to get this thing finished very soon. Have a great night or day or whatever it is you're having.